Hello, boys and girls. It's Miss Bell, and I'm going to show you a fancy way for dividing when we have multi-digit by single-digit numbers. So I like to call this the box method because obviously there's a box here. Your parents might have learned a different way, which we call long division. It is basically the same thing as long division, but it just organizes our information a little bit more. So before we get started, I want to talk to you about my secret acronym that lets me know the steps for dividing. It goes like this. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? And I'm going to tell you what those letters represent. D, you might guess, is for division. M is for multiplication. What do you think S would be? Subtraction. C is a little tricky. It's just making sure that you're checking your work, because no matter how wonderful of a job you do with your multiplication, division, subtraction, if you mess one step up, it might mess up your entire problem. So slow down and check it, and then bring over. So I'm going to show you what I mean here. Division can be tricky because we're used to starting with math from our right to our left, but actually with division, we're going to be starting over here instead. So this number, we're trying to figure out how many times 2 can go into 7. Or you can think of it like this, 7 divided by 2. How many times can we put 2 into 7? 2 times 3. Oh, 2 times 3 is 6. It's important that you don't go over that amount. It can go into there 3 times, and 2 times 3 is 6. Now, we've done our dividing and our multiplying, so our next step is subtracting. We are going to be subtracting 7 minus 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. Now we're going to go back and check, make sure I did this correctly. 2 times 3 really is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. So we're good. The very last step is to bring over. So we were left with 1 over here. We're going to bring it over here and transform this into the number 18. And I'm just going to draw a little line like by this, so where I can still see the work that I've completed, but it visually lets me know that I'm finished with that box. Now we're going to start the process over, and we're back at division. I'm going to think of 18 divided by 2, or 2 times equals 18. Whenever I skip count by 2, I can actually get to the number 18 by multiplying by 9. 2 times 9 is actually 18. My next step is to subtract. 18 minus 18 is 0. I'm going to check my work again. 2 times 9 really is 18. 18 minus 18 is 0. So I have nothing that I need to carry over here. And the next step is to bring over. But I'm finished because there's nothing to bring over. Now our last box, we're going to start at the top again. 4 divided by 2. Or what can I multiply by 2 to get 4? I hope your answer here is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. I checked my work. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. There's nothing to bring over. We are finished. Here's another tricky thing about division. We usually have our answers at the bottom, but division, we put our answers up at the top. So 784 divided by 2 equals 392. You better go ahead and kiss your brain because you just did something very challenging. All right, now let's do a little practice over here with question number 2. We're going to walk across the street. I'm going to write down my secret again to see if you remember it. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? D stands for divide. M stands for multiply. S stands for subtract. C stands for check. And B stands for bring over. I want you to look carefully. Where do you think we're going to start here? I hope that on your paper you're pointing to the number 9, because I'm hoping you're remembering that division is all kinds of crazy. We actually are going to be starting at the left side. So with division, I'm thinking 9 divided by 2. But 9 is not an even number. So I'm going to have to think of something that I can multiply by 2 that will get me close to 9 without going over. 2 times 4 is 8. I can't go any further than that because 2 times 5 would be 10. That would be too much here. All right, we divided, we multiplied. The next step is subtracting. We are going to be zooming into this box and we're doing 9 minus 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. I'm going to check my work. 2 times 4 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. So our next step is to bring over. We were left with the number 1 here. So we're going to transfer it up here. And we're going to change that to a 17 now. I'm going to just draw a little line so I know that I'm finished with that box. But I haven't drawn over my work so I can still see that there. Now we're going to do 17 divided by 2. But I know off the top of my head that 17 is not an even number. So I can never multiply 2 and get 17. I'm going to have to go to a number that's close to 17 without going over. 2 times 8 equals 16. The next step is to subtract. Do you know what we're going to be subtracting here? 17 minus 16 is 1. I checked my work. 2 times 8 is 16. 17 minus 16 is 1. So now I need to bring over. I was left with a 1 here, so I'm going to bring that 1 over here and change that number to a 14. Don't forget to do a tiny mark over your box from before so you know that we're finished with it. Now we're up at the top again, and we're going to be dividing. 14 divided by 2. Or you can think of it this way. What times 2 equals 14? I hope that you were quickly able to tell me 7 because you've been practicing your facts. 2 times 7 really equals 14. Next step is subtracting. 14 minus 14 equals 0. So we were left with nothing left over. I'm going to go ahead and cross that out. That means that we are finished here. And I am going to circle my answer because I love my teacher and I don't want them to have to think about where my answer is. It's right on top. 974 divided by 2, equals 487. Now, here's your practice. I want you to pause the video and I want you to solve number 3 on your own. When you finish, I want you to check your work watching the video. Go ahead and get started now. All right, boys and girls, if you've already finished number 3, now let's go ahead and get started on reviewing. So remember our acronym is Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? D stands for divide, M stands for multiply, S stands for subtract, C stands for check your work, and B stands for bring over. Unlike addition and multiplication, we're starting division with our left number right here in the hundreds place. So I'm going to think of 8 divided by 2, or what times 2 equals 8? 2 times 4 actually equals 8. If you look at the next step, it's subtracting. 8 minus 8 is 0. You should have checked your work. That's good. There's nothing to bring over, so I'm going to cross it out. We're in the next box. I hope you're starting back at the top. 4 divided by 2, or you can think of 2 times equals 4. 2 times 2 actually equals 4. The next step is to subtract. 4 minus 4 equals 0. I've checked my work. Everything's good. And there's nothing to bring over because that canceled itself out. So I'm going to do a tiny crossover. Now we have to think about, starting at the top, 2 divided by 2. What can we multiply by 2 to get 2? I hope you'll be able to tell me quickly. 2 times 1 is 2. The next step is subtraction. 2 minus 2 equals 0. And we are finished here. Your answer is up at the top. 842 divided by 2 equals 421. Let's do one more practice. I want you to solve question number 4 on your own, and then check back check back on the video to double check your answer. All right. If you're joining me, I hope that you have already completed this on your own. I'm going to go ahead and write down our acronym again. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? D stands for divide, M stands for multiply, S stands for subtraction, C stands for check your work, and B stands for bring over. Okay, so I hope you started right here in this box. And I'm looking at that automatically thinking, that's not going to happen. You can't multiply 2 and get an odd number. So I'm going to have to go to a number that's close to 7 without going over. And I know that 2 times 3 is 6. If I did 2 times 4, that would be 8. That would be more than 7. So I had to stop there. Next step is subtraction. 7 minus 6 is 1. I checked my work. Everything is good. I'm going to go ahead and bring 1 over. That transformed this box into 10. Now we're back at the top. 10 divided by 2, or 2 times equals 10. 2 times 5 equals 10. Subtraction. 10 minus 10 is 0. I checked my work. Everything's good. There's nothing to bring over because we finished with the number 0, so I'm just going to do a tiny cross out. Now we're back at the top. 4 divided by 2, or 2 times is 4. 2 times 2 equals 4. Next step is subtraction. 4 minus 4 is 0. I checked my work. Everything's good. There's nothing to bring over because I don't have any more boxes. I'm going to go ahead and cross it out. So that leads us to our answer. 704 divided by 2 equals 352.